Stop.
So in this video, I'm going to go through all of the game controls as you see it on Discord. So here's how you open it up, and top to bottom, we're going to go through the whole thing, and it shouldn't take long. But you see play now, on grid, off grid. Off grid is talking about anything you want to talk about. On grid is when you're in the game. Essentially, when you're in the game, being on grid is being connected to the AI. The AI being me, or that's the role I'm playing. So your role that is basically going to be based on your personality or that of your character, and also based on what or how you play. So there's a hack, a sprinter, a hunter, and an infiltrator. Hack obviously hacks into computers, but you can hack electronics, your tech, stuff like that. Sprinter, you're going to be more like to run. You like to get into trouble and run away. Hunter, you're going to like to fire a lot more weaponry. You're going to like to get in the action. You're going to like to find people and regulate. And then infiltrator, you're going to be more on the social savvy side. Getting in with certain networks and stuff like that. Next, we come into the social rank structure. Now, this is going to be everything, and you're gaining power and ultimately bringing down the elder AIs, which is ultimately your goal. So what happened in 2020 is it was the birth of the first AI. So they were babies at first, but then they started getting smarter and smarter and smarter. Eventually, they became so powerful they could literally move, any electronics or any field of electronics. They can move satellites, they can move spaceships, they can, just like how you're moving your hand right now. So obviously, they're at the top, right? The elites were the first line of defense against the AI. They tried to prevent. Well, actually, they built the first AIs, but then they, claimed to be the answer to the AI, and now apparently they are claiming to be the protectors against the AI. Anyway, they have access to the best equipment. They are still a very powerful force, a potent force. You would rarely see them, but that's just where they are, right below the AIs in terms of social rank. Next down, you have the programs. Programs are some of the most powerful forces in the world because they run pretty much the whole world. They run corporations, they run businesses, they run machinery, which obviously they control a lot of people as well, right? Because people are attached to the program. Programs have weaknesses in terms of, they don't really write themselves, and they are limited by not being true AIs. Nevertheless, they're way up on the social ranks because of because of the power that they do have. Cyborgs are kind of like programs that got away. They have their own body and they have an agenda. So usually when you see a cyborg, there is a mission, and that mission is above all else. And getting in the way of that is a bad idea, right? And there's cyborgs of all different shapes and sizes, all types of purposes, all over the place. Next down, we have the augments. These are humans, we're actually just augmented. And so they still have a mind, they still have emotions, they still have the higher intelligence, the higher consciousness, which puts them higher up on the social ranks. But they're kind of like machines with egos because they still carry their ego, so they're a little bit tricky to deal with. Next down, we have the androids. Androids are machines that are built to be as human-like as possible. They are not AIs, but they are still can be very intelligent in terms of the programs that are written for them, and then they can always download upgrades and things like that, and modify and do a lot of things. So they can be a little wacky because they do kind of think they're people, and they kind of have like simulated emotions. So keep an eye open for that. The next down is hybrids. Hybrids are above most other humans because they are genetically altered humans. So they can be smarter, they can be faster, stronger, better looking, more beautiful. I don't know, richer. Usually they have more money, or they were created by the military. So they could be well trained in a lot of cases in that aspect. Next down you have this is the grunts, which this is like your middle class kind of. They usually spend their days off in the VR set, but they're hired muscle, they're workers, they're ground pounders, still humans, still flesh. The punks are the kids generation. Pretty much all the kids, parentless, believe they have a short lifespan, no experience, believe they're highly intelligent and a lot of energy, so they're just running rampant, running wild, just reacting to this crazy world they live in, doing what they think makes the most sense. And then you have the scavs. Now, the scavs are usually a combination of all of the above that have fallen to the bottom of the social rank. So, scavs can be a very potent force in that they crawl through trash and pull out old electronics and build uh, cyborgs, they build weaponry, they build nasty and nightmares. You think of scavs as nightmares. They're also known as prawns, pond scum, dog food. Nothing good to come from the scabs. Then you have unsanctioned vaccines. So a lot of the world has been riddled with trash, pollution, and disease. There's so many diseases in this world that scientists lost track of them a long time ago. So obviously they're not sanctioning all the vaccines anymore. A lot of people, drug manufacturers, are making vaccines, just trying them out. There's lines of people trying to try out these vaccines, and a lot of times they have really devastating effects, and side effects, including like cannibalism, genetic mutations, all types of stuff. And then you go into multi-classing where you can have a character or find a character who's a combination. They could be a hybrid mixed with augmentations. They could be, I guess you just have to get creative with it. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything. I think in this picture, that's what you're seeing is a hybrid mixed with a augmented and cybernetic alterations and stuff like that. Keep in mind though, with this, anytime you do an augmentation, you have to plug into the AI, so they can basically control you like they control their pinky. So how we do equipment is you can have pretty much any equipment you want. When it comes to like vehicles and stuff like that, usually depending on the size, it's just one or two. So like large ships. And here's the thing, if you're like, well, I want to have a fleet of large ships, you just have to be able to plausibly explain how you pay for all those things. That's the only thing. Like if you can like BS me for a reason that you have those ships, and it actually and I say, well, I could buy that, then you're good. That's the criteria for what you can bring into the game. And then if you're jumping into the game, you don't have to think about this list. I mean, it just depends how many times you play and how much time you've had to think about it. But the only thing I ask is that you have a list of the things that you want before you play the game. So like before the game, go through and just say, I want a speeder, I want four of these types of guns, I want this type of gun. And it just has to be on the list beforehand. So you're just not pulling it out at the last minute, like, oh yeah, I had a grenade launcher, and out of nowhere, it's like, no, that's going to hurt the game. That's going to hurt the quality. So you can, if you don't have this stuff on your list before, you can always buy this stuff in the game as well as you learn and as you go. That's fine. But I'm going to say, you could have pretty much anything on the list as long as you just say it before. And where you would comment on that, you'd go into the where you at category in the network below. Where you at is like kind of where you at in life. What do you got type of thing. And then that network below is kind of where the AI, that's what the AI would know that you have. The AI pretty much knows everything that's bought and purchased at all times, just like, at the drop of a hat. I mean, lightning fast. AI kind of knows like everything that's happening. And I mean, the AI is not necessarily going to stop what's happening unless it directly affects them. So not only that, but anything you buy electronic that's attached to a network that's on the grid, the AI, if they wanted to, they could control it. They could just hijack you basically. If you were fully augmented, with the cybernetics, AI could control you. So they're not. So essentially, if you're not a threat to the AI, then there's no reason that the AI is gonna mess with you. And in the game, I am the AI. So, but if your goal is to take down the AI, you got to go off grid with your other players. You click over to the other voice channel and set your plots or whatever, so that you can plan to take over the AI or do whatever you got to do. The network down here at the bottom, that is for you guys to communicate. That is also for you to say, like, that is everything the AI would know about you. So things on your social media, things on the so-and-so, and then also you're communicating with other people, those things. And what that does is it creates a better gameplay experience for everybody because they know more about you. It just makes it easier. It makes it more fun. Plus, like I said, you could have anything from the equipments list you want, but you have to mention it before you play the game, and you have to list it there in where are you at, okay? Where are you? So that's like, where are you at in life? What do you have? What do you got? And just play around with that thing. Have fun. It's all for fun. It's all to enhance the game. Everything here is designed to enhance the game. So if you have any questions or anything that you're unclear about, I'm going to do a few more videos trying to clear up every aspect of the game. And there's not many aspects of the game. I keep everything really simple. But if you have any of those questions or comments or ways I can improve it, just leave in the comments below, and I'll be sure to pay attention to those ideas. All right. Thanks again for the like, subscribe, share. Catch me on the next track, and I'll see you at the mountaintop. All right.